He was born the son of an immigrant Russian wholesale grocer in St. Louis. Today, he runs the world's largest airline and the country's largest employee-owned company, United Airlines. Gerald Greenwald is 61 years old. He has held executive positions with Ford Motor and Chrysler, where he was vice chairman. He graduated cum laude from Princeton. His uncluttered office is adorned with pictures of his family and of him on horseback and in the Arctic. His goal, he says, is to demonstrate that profits, efficiency, and service can all be achieved in an employee-owned company when the employees come first.
It bothers me that that CEOs, guys like me, are quick to say the famous phrase, the most important asset of our company is our employees. Right, but why do they then invest more in the overhaul of their machinery than in the updating and training of their people, if they really mean that? So, yeah, I think you gotta, I mean, you're known by what you do, not what you say, and I think there's some evidence that suggests that there are still too many senior managers in this country who do not grasp and understand what can be accomplished in the interest of profits and in the interest of, in our case, passenger service, by empowering and better training the employees of that company.
Do you see yourself as a boss, a team leader, first among equals? How would you define your MO as a CEO here?
We are trying literally in every way we know how, to run our company with a concept I have in my head, which I call an inverted pyramid. And at the very top, the heavy part of the pyramid, are all of our passengers. And in the center are all of our employees, and at the bottom are the managers like myself. And it's our job to aim, through business strategies, motivate, train our employees to deliver better service to passengers. I don't like the concept of an organization chart that people quickly start drawing that shows the CEO at the top. I don't think that's for the 90s.
When you took the position here, what did you feel your primary mission was?
Well, I saw it as an opportunity to demonstrate that an airline in a service industry, that the employees, when they became owners, could create an even better company and even better passenger service. That was my mission.
And he says he always flies coach. Still ahead on this edition of Making Money, you probably spent much of your childhood pulling around one of these little red wagons they make here. Well, the Radio Flyer Company is still wheeling off wagons on their assembly line right here in Chicago. On the south side of Chicago, the soft Sheen company has become the world's largest maker of black hair care products. A year ago, the only daughter of founders Edward and Betty Gardner was appointed president and CEO. Terry Gardner is 41 years old. She has been with the company from the start, first helping her brothers fill shampoo bottles in the basement of the family home. She is past president of the ad agency Brainstorm Communications, which is owned by the Gardner family. She earned a bachelor's degree from UIC. Ms. Gardner is poised and soft-spoken, but in a company of 450 employees, she says that she can make the tough call.
It might not be easy, but I'll make it. You know, one of the things I like to say is I really don't come here to make friends. I'm coming here to run a business. And when I go home, I can have my friends, but in this company, my responsibility is to the company. And I firmly believe that if the company is successful, the people in the company and around the company, our stakeholders, will be successful. I guess our challenge is to both lead and follow. The secret of this business is knowing when to do which. We can't necessarily create a trend that people aren't ready for, but we certainly can be on the cutting edge of trends and capture those and formulate and articulate those concepts for consumers and present a product that's effective and gives them the style they want. You know, hair in our community is a very emotional as well as cultural issue, and how we feel about ourselves, whether you're black or white, how you feel about yourself is very much tied to how you look. And certainly in the black community, hair care has had historically a number of stigmas, a number of different perspectives and opinions on how hair care should be handled in our community. And at the end of the day, you know, we make products that we hope make people feel good about themselves and that will help us express who we are and what we are in this society.
What was it then that they were instilling in you, your parents, over all these years, that has now made it such a successful company? Because in the beginning, there was no evidence that it would ever really succeed.
Right. I guess at the end of the day, it's faith. You know, as they say in the Bible, there's no faith without works. So I saw good samples of both of those things. I saw my parents working very hard, and I saw them believing in themselves. And you know, the sense of I got a very strong sense of knowing that if I was going to work hard and if I believed in what I was doing, I could do anything that I wanted to do. And though that wasn't articulated in those words, that was literally what I saw around me, from my parents as well as from friends of theirs. And I saw people being able to put their dreams into action and accomplish whatever they wanted to. And that was a very strong message for me and my brothers.
Sheen carries a line of 160 products, and she tells me this should be the company's best year ever, with more than $100 million in revenues. Ahead on Making Money, making caramel apples. You remember biting into an Affy apple, don't you? Well, they're still homegrown in Chicago. A tour of where they make that sweet and tart treat.
CLTV presents an inside look at Chicagoland business. From market trends to consumer advice, here is your exclusive guide to the local business world. In cooperation with the Chicago Tribune, this is CLTV's Making Money.
Making Money, sponsored by Nextel. Get smart, get Nextel. And by First Star. To get there, start here.
This week on Making Money, Chicagoland-based Sears Roebuck faces some hefty fines and is ordered to pay back bankrupt customers who had owed it money. Universities' researchers are tired of sharing that overcrowded internet, so they've made their own, and it sends information faster than you can double-click. And Chicagoans remember how good they tasted. Tart and sweet homegrown Affy apple caramel apples. They're still made in the same place on the north side, and we'll take you on a tour. Hello, I'm Bill Mahler, and this is Making Money. Turning first to some of the top business stories, a potential bombshell of fines and repayments for Sears Roebuck. On Thursday, the company admitted it had illegally forced bankrupt customers to continue to pay their credit card bills separate from any agreements those customers might have had with bankruptcy courts. On Friday, Sears agreed to pay thousands of those customers $500 each. That'll cost the company more than $1 million. Sears stock fell nearly 4 points Thursday and another point on Friday. Genevieve Buck has been following the story for the Chicago Tribune. Genevieve, just how serious a violation is this for Sears?
It's serious in that Sears did not comply with bankruptcy laws, and especially in these cases of personal bankruptcies called Chapter 7s. They did not file some of the papers that are required. This came to light only 10 days ago.
Now, the company did try to get out ahead of the problem. They're not stonewalling by any means.
Oh, not at all. In fact, the analysts that I talked with yesterday and today are very admirable. I mean, they can't believe that Sears does not even want to contest it. They want to make restitution to pay and even pay what law says that they don't have to.
Genevieve Buck of the Chicago Tribune. Archer Daniels Midland has settled a suit with its shareholders. It's going to pay $30 million for artificially jacking up its stock price by not disclosing that some of its profits came from price fixing. Last year, ADM paid a $100 million fine after admitting it conspired to fix the price of a livestock feed called lysine. Dominicks Finer Foods must go to court to defend its treatment of women employees. A class action lawsuit claims the grocery chain stuck women with worse shifts and assignments and failed to provide women with the same promotion opportunities as men. Nancy Millman of the Tribune says the problem could lie in Dominicks' promotion process.
What is clear from the response from Dominicks is that they don't have in place a formal program like there is at most companies that post jobs, that makes opportunities of job openings available to everyone to see and apply for. Dominicks doesn't have a mechanism like that that enables everybody to know when there are positions for which they can apply. It's very informal, and it seems to involve a lot of favoritism and popularity contests.
Such cases carry a limit on damages of $300,000 per person. As many as 15,000 women could sign on to the suit. More than ever, the business of women in America is business. Nearly 20% of businesses that were started in the first 4 years of this decade and had more than one employee were owned by women. That's a 6% increase than it was a decade before. Businesses owned by women are generally smaller. A little more than 3/4 have no more than 9 employees. These numbers come from the Census Bureau. A possible lawsuit catch-22 for states such as Illinois, which are suing big tobacco for big bucks. If they win those suits, the states could actually lose. Tobacco stocks have been hot investments. Illinois has invested some of its pension money in tobacco shares that could lose value if the parent companies are burned by hefty damage penalties. The Quaker Oats Company will take a better than $8 a share hit from that unloading the disaster known as Snapple, but on Thursday the company said it expects first quarter earnings per share will be above Wall Street's expectations. Quaker says it'll be at least equal to last year's 22 cents a share. The value of Motorola shares softened a bit this week on the announcement that Iridium Company must further delay the launch of a $5 billion satellite network. Motorola owns 24% of Iridium. A statement says Iridium's losses will be widened by, quote, several $100 million in 1997. Motorola's overall first quarter profits did outperform analysts' expectations, though lower than first quarter expected from last year. They were ahead of what the consensus was anticipating. The markets were not for the faint-hearted this week as analysts debated as to whether this is just a correction or something more. The Dow lost nearly 150 on Friday. Losers led gainers 7-1. Trading was light for the week. The industrial average was off 134 points, and the Nasdaq dropped 29. All the markets were reacting to the government's report on higher wholesale prices and news consumers are spending more. Carl Bethena is an investment strategist for Everin Securities. Carl, another 148 down for the Dow today. Is this technically a correction still?
This is still a correction. It's been in process for over a month and a half now, and it's coincided very well with the sell-off in long-term interest rates. We were at only 6.52% in terms of long rates, and now it's moved up well beyond that to 7.2% roughly, and that has coincided with the stock market having a lot of difficulty in going through this corrective phase.
We haven't seen any kind of a stampede for the exit signs at mutual funds or brokerage houses yet, though, have we?
We really haven't seen it. In fact, mutual fund inflow, the capital inflow into equity mutual funds particularly, has remained very healthy. And that's been a bolster to the stock market. Despite this recent decline, that's helped the equity market out quite a bit.
We've seen the mid and small cap stocks. They've been in decline for about a year. Is this the rest of the market just catching up with them?
Not necessarily. I mean, the small and mid-cap stocks have underperformed for many reasons, including overvaluation on the part of the large caps, which has kept people cautious about the overall market and moving back into names that they feel more comfortable with, more liquid names such as the large cap stocks.
So is the groundwork now being laid for a renewed market advance?
It could very well be the case, but it's going to take quite a few factors coming together. The mutual fund inflow is going to have to remain healthy. We're going to need to have some kind of bond market rally with rates currently around 7.2% on the long end. They're going to need to decline, and as that happens, that's going to give the stock market a little more catalyst to move forward. But long rates at their current level are very limiting to the stock market.
Okay, Carl Bethena with Everin Securities. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
In other business news, there's turned out to be a run on McDonald's. It came as soon as the children found out that teeny versions of the wildly popular Beanie Babies are being plunked down into every Happy Meal. McDonald's has teamed up with its Oak Brook neighbor, Thai Incorporated, in what Friday's Wall Street Journal has called the possible merger of the year. The first offerings, Patty Platypus and Pinky Flamingo. Well, if this boosts sales, it'll fall in line with McDonald's promise to shareholders this week that it is intent on making this a turnaround year. And on the topic of making money, the Treasury Department says that it made a few mistakes on the printing of some of its new $100 bills. Turns out that counterfeiting safeguard somehow got printed on the wrong side of about 46,000 individual bills. Now, if you've got one of those $100 bills and it looks a little funny, well, you can still use it, but you can also trade it in at your bank. It's not easy to talk to your boss about your paycheck. John Challenger will tell you how to negotiate a good salary and what to say to get a raise.
We don't, as a company, decide that people should or shouldn't do whatever they want to do with their hair. We make it our business to make the quality price and let them do whatever they want to do and express whatever they want to express.
Plus, she breaks every stereotype of a CEO. Later, we'll sit down in the boardroom with Soft Sheen's Terry Gardner. New technology has always changed the way we work, but now it's also changing where we work as home and car replaces the office. Here is CLTV's Mary McGuire to tell us about telecommuting on the Silicon Prairie.
Like much of Chicagoland's workforce, Tim Parker used to be stuck in this every morning and afternoon. Now his commute involves walking to a different part of the house.
I have a separate phone line for the use of the company. And so I pretty much have all the tools I need. You can just, basically leave the main part of my house at the same time I would leave the house, but it only takes me less than a minute to get to my office.
Tim and the rest of the Aramark Uniform Services Chicago sales team moved their offices home about 1.5 years ago. The affordability of technology, such as laptop computers, fax machines, and extra phone lines, made the move financially smart for the company, but it adds new challenges for the worker.
The hardest part is just keeping yourself motivated because you are at home and there are a lot more possibilities. You don't have someone breathing over your shoulder all day long. But if you don't motivate yourself, it'll kill you real fast.
Hey, Tim, this is Bruce. End of message.
The computer and home phone connect the worker to the office, but it's the cell phone that connects Tim to his customers.
Hi, Kelly. Is Dave Barker in? Most important tool is probably just plain and simple the telephone, because that's what I'm going to use to get my appointments, so I'm not out just cold calling all day. I need to keep in contact with people and set up appointments via the phone, and then I can actually go out and have a planned appointment where they know I'm coming and we can get some quality information exchange between myself and that prospect.
Since the Aramark sales team moved home about 1.5 years ago, there has been little turnover, and 1996 was a record-breaking year.
I think everybody enjoys the fact that we don't have to make the drive to work, and the comfort and quality of work that you can put out of your home.
For Making Money, I'm Mary McGuire.
In other technology news, everybody's getting on the fast track for digital TV. This week, the Federal Communications Commission put the word out to broadcasters. Stations are going to have to begin broadcasting digital signals within 2 years, and the entire industry will have to convert to high-definition TV in 5. You'll still have 9 years before your current analog TV set becomes obsolete. Microsoft, Intel, and Compaq have plans to make sure digital TV contains an internet component and is interactive. And Zenith Electronics in Glenview says it is developing semiconductor chips to process HD TV. The digital chips should be on the market in about 1 year. There is a company in Chicago whose products are simply a part of Americana. Born in the mind of an immigrant from Italy, the original idea flourished in America's early industrial environment that so rewarded hard work, enterprise, and quality workmanship. 2 generations later, those values remain the operating philosophy at Radio Flyer Incorporated. If you didn't know better, you'd think it was an auto assembly plant with its stamping machines, paint shop, and overhead the suspended parts marching along in endless ordered columns. But the main product that comes off the line in this plant is a little red wagon, 8,000 a day in 40 different sizes. Robert Passon grew up in the midst of the cacophony and red paint. He and his 2 brothers now run the company that their grandfather started 80 years ago. A wagon is nothing more than pressed metal, a little paint, and 4 wheels, but that's not what they make here. The Passon brothers know that in each box they ship out of this factory is an American icon, and that's something you don't tamper with.
Well, that's always a challenge. Radio Flyer has become an American icon, and whenever we consider a new product, we have to consider how it further strengthens and builds upon our famous brand name.
A name that goes onto both sides of every wagon.
This is the stenciling line where the wagon receives its soul and officially becomes a Radio Flyer.
Keeping the company all in the family gives the Passon brothers total control of product and image. They keep their trade secrets. Even the formula for the red paint is proprietary. After all these years, they know what they're doing.
Robert, do you have examples of just how much people love this company, love your product?
Well, one of the great things about being a part of Radio Flyer is that everybody has a Radio Flyer story. Every person I meet tells me about when they were a kid, what they used to do with their wagon.
What company wouldn't want that kind of customer loyalty? Oh, there have been offers to buy them out and get a hold of that magic name, but it's not for sale. The Passon brothers are content to keep Chicago as the home of the Radio Flyer wagon. And that name, Radio Flyer, well, Grandfather Pazin thought that the two words just sounded futuristic. And I guess in an age when radio really was new and the flyer Lindbergh had just crossed the Atlantic, I don't think Madison Avenue could have come up with a better name. If you turn to the business section in the Chicago